Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam, ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sanurihim ayatina fil afaq wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana annahu al-haq. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. My very respected brothers and sisters, and my dear respected elders, I welcome all of you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon all of you. The topic of this evening talk is the Quran and the modern science, compatible or incompatible. The glorious Quran was revealed 1400 years ago to our last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For any book to claim that this is the word of God, it should stand the test of time. Previously, it was the age of literature and poetry, but today is the age of science. Alhamdulillah. Back then, the Muslim and non-Muslim, they claim that the glorious Quran is the best Arabic literature in the face of the earth. The glorious Quran gives various type of challenges to the whole humankind to prove the Quran wrong. And Allah began the challenge in Surah Al-Isra, chapter number 17, verse number 88. And Allah said that if all the men and the jinn were come together and they wanted to produce of a Quran, they will never be able to produce like of it. However, they wanted to assist each other. However, they wanted to help each other. Then Allah begins the challenge from Surah Al-Hud, chapter number 11, verse number 13. And Allah said that if you are in doubt that this Quran has been forged, produce a 10 surah like of the Quran and call forth of your helpers and witnesses apart from God. Call them, and in kuntum sadiqin, if you're truthful. Allah then made the challenge a little easier in Surah Yunus, chapter number 10, verse number 38. Allah said that if you are in doubt that this book has been forged, produce a surah, one surah like of the Quran. Not the whole Quran, not the 10 surah, one surah like of the Quran. And call forth yourself and call forth your helper and witnesses apart from God, in kuntum sadiqin, if you're truthful. Allah made the challenge more easier. In Surah Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayat number 23 and 24, Allah said, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبَ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ أَبَدِنَا. And if you are in doubt that we have revealed to thee, he has been forged the Quran, فَأْتُوا مِنْ سُورَةٍ مِنْ مِثْلِهِ. That produced a surah somewhat similar to it. Like the shortest surah in the whole Quran is hardly 3 ayats. So Allah is saying, not the whole Quran, not 10 surahs, not one surah, just somewhat similar to it. مِنْ مِثْلِهِ. What ushwada min dunillah in kuntum sadiqin, and call forth your helpers and your witnesses apart from God, if there are any, in kuntum sadiqin, and if you are truthful. But Allah then say, walam taf'alu, and if you cannot, walam taf'alu, and with a surety you cannot, fattakun narul lati wakuduhan, and fear the fire whose fuel is men and stones, which are prepared for those who reject faith. It will be a pleasure for me to mention of a famous scholar in the 20th century by the name Maulana Abdul Alim Siddiqui, who was the best scholar in his time. He gave a speech on South Africa on the year 1934, and the topic was cultivation of science by the Muslim society, Muslim community. And he said the stress which the glorious Quran has laid about the scientific fact of the universe is phenomena and unique in the literature world of today's. It exhorts us to study the structure, functional distribution of animals and classical distribution of plants, which is the problem for biology. It exhorts us to study the order of nature and the general properties of the matter which are affected by energy, which is the problem for physics. It exhorts us to study the, the properties of substance, both compound and elementary, and the law of their combination and the action upon one upon the other, which is the problem for physics. It exhorts us to study the structure and mineral globe of the constitution and changes that take places in its organic and inorganic form, which is the problem for geology. It exhorts us to study the general description of the earth and its division into seas, rivers, and mountains, etc., which is the problem for geology. And the Quran and it speaks about many other phenomena like geology, astronomy, hydrology, embryology, biology, and etc. Now I will start with in the field of astronomy. There was a group of scientists in the year 1973 who described the creation of the universe, the Big Bang Theory. And they said initially our universe was in the state of primary nebula, initial mass. Then there was a secondary separation, which gave rise to the galaxy, star, the moon, the planets, and the Earth which we live in. This Big Bang Theory is mentioned in the Blue Quran in the nutshell 1400 years ago in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 30. And Allah said that أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَقُولُونَ الْأَرْضُ أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتْ رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُ, that the heavens and the earth were joined together and we clove them asunder. We ripped them asunder. We split them asunder. Previously, the scientists thought that the celestial matter was in a state of gas, but now they have confirmed that smoke is more relevant and closer reference than gas. Allah mentioned in Surah Fussilat, chapter number 41, verse number 11. Moreover, He comprehended His design in the sky when it was smoke, and He said to the earth, O earth, come together willingly or unwillingly, and they said, we come together willingly with obedience. The Quran rightly says that when the creation of the universe began, it was smoke. Now the scientists have confirmed in the initial stages, the celestial matter was in the state of smoke. A famous explorer by the name of Sir Francis Drake in the year 1577, he sailed around the Earth and he proved that the Earth is spherical in shape. Because previously people thought the Earth to be flat. And it's also mentioned in the Bible in Gospel of Luke, chapter number 4, verse number 5, about the Earth being flat. Allah mentioned in Surah Luqman, chapter number 31, verse number 29. Allah said that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who merges the night into the day and the day into the night. Merging is a slowly gradual progression. The night slowly gradually merges into the day and vice versa. This phenomena can only be achieved if the earth is spherical. If it was flat, there would have been a sudden change. It wouldn't have been a slowly gradually progression night into the day and the day into the night. Allah mentioned in Surah Naziyah, chapter number 79, verse number 30, Allah said that وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا, and then we made the earth as an expand, and we made the earth as an egg shape. The Arabic word dahaha comes from the root word duya, which means an egg. And we know that our earth is round like a ball. It's not completely round like a ball. It's flattened from the pole and bulging from the center. It is geospherical in shape. And if we analyze, the Arabic word duya doesn't refer to a normal egg. It specifically refers to an egg of an ostrich. And if we analyze, the egg of an ostrich is 2 spherical in shape. So the Quran rightly says, وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا, and then we made the earth as an expand, and we made the earth as an egg shape. Furthermore, previously the scientists thought the light of the moonlight is its own light, and it is also mentioned in the Bible in Book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse number 16. It's mentioned that God created two greater light: the greater light to rule the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. If you go to the original Hebrew text, the word for light is lamps. It's lamps, and lamp is used for two lights. One is sun and one for the moon. But today, after the scientists have confirmed, the moon does not have its own light, it is a borrowed light. Now what the Quran has to say about the light. Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse number 61, and Allah said that moreover, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who complicated his design in the sky and placed therein Shams, which is sun, giving its own light, and moon, giving a borrowed light. The Arabic word for sun is Shams, and its light is always described as Siraj, Wahaj, or Duya, which means a torch, a blazing lamp, or a shining glory. The Arabic word for moon is a Qamar, and its light is always described as Munir or Nur, which is borrowed light or reflected light. So the Quran specifically, it differentiates the light of one is its own light and one is borrowing light. It specifically knows what it's saying when it comes to the fact of light. And the Arabic word for star is Najm, and its light is always described as Saqib. Saqib means the light, by the time it reaches the earth, it loses its brightness. It's like a piercing brightness, and it's mentioned in Surah Tariq, chapter number 6, verse number 3. That was Najmus Saqib. Previously, there was a scientist by the name Nicholas Copernicus. In the 15th century, he wrote a book by the name. He propounded the heliocentric theory, the planetary motion, and he said that the sun is motionless. The sun is in the center of the solar system, and all the planet and the earth revolve around the sun. Later on, Johannes Kepler, in 1609, he came and wrote another book by the name Astronomia Novia, and he refuted the statement of the Nicholas Copernicus, and he said not only do the planets and the earth revolve around the sun, but they all also rotate about their own axis. What does the Quran has to say about this now? Quran says in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 33, and Allah said that هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created the night and the day. وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ, the sun and the moon. كُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ, each one traveling in its orbit with its own motion. The Arabic word for yasbahun came from the root word sabaha, which means the motion of a moving body. If I use this Arabic word yasbahun for a person in the water, it won't mean that it's floating, but it will mean that he's swimming. Similarly, if I use this Arabic word yasbahun for a celestial body, and for example the sun, it won't mean that it is flying in the air. It will mean that it is moving around with its own axis, its own rotation. And today the scientist has confirmed the sun also rotates. And now, if you have an equipment in the tabletop, and if you analyze the sun, you can't see sun directly, you will get blind. If you observe the sun, you will see that the sun got some black spot. And this black spot takes 25 days to complete one rotation, indicating the sun takes approximately 25 days to complete one rotation. Imagine previously in the 90s, schools and universities, they used to follow the concept of Nicholas Copernicus, but now they have been incorporated with the latest scientific fact. Furthermore, the scientists also tells us that the sun is moving to a particular direction, which is known as solar apex. In the constellation of Hercules, also known as Alpha Lyra, at a speed with 12 miles per second. And the sunlight we are having in the sun is due to a chemical reaction, and one day this chemical reaction will cease to exist. So will the life on the planet will cease to exist. But scientists say it will take another 100 billion years to achieve this phenomena. Quran mentioned 1400 years ago in Surah Yasin, chapter number 36, verse number 38. Allah said that وَالشَّمْسَ تَجْرِي لِلْمُسْتَقِرٍ لَهَا, that the sun is running its course to a particular direction or a period of direction. The Arabic word mustaqar means a period determined or a place determined. Scientists have no problem in saying the sun is moving to a period determined or a place determined. Both are in a perfect conformity with the latest scientific fact.